Yes, people, welcome back to the Oniaya. And of course, we have to talk about the Vinícius Júnior situation. Now, before we jump into that, don't forget please to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications so I can keep bringing you great content going forward. So, Vinícius Júnior has been racially abused. There's an article going out on CNN, actually backdated since the 19th of May 2024. And at that time, the article read that he was actually abused 16 times. So by now, it's probably been around 20. So it's amazing to see that one player has been racially abused 20 times. Now, I'm not for no sort of discrimination, no sort of racism from any race. Like, we need to stop being disrespectful to each other, simple. And a lot of times we look at racism as a lot of things going around, people saying, oh, black people can't be racist, and they try to pull up all these studies. But at the end of the day, the definition of racism is discrimination against somebody because of their race. Now, there isn't only one race unless we want to say we are the human race. Okay? But if we want to talk about other races, then there's Asian, there's black, there's Latino, there's white, there's Asians, and we mix up the Asians into Chinese, into Japanese, Koreans, Indians, but they all Asians. Yeah? Now, discrimination to Vinícius Júnior, we have to talk about the particular situation that does happen. Now, everyone's just on Vinícius Júnior's side because, of course, they hear racism. Now, I'm not saying he was not racially abused. I'm not saying that it did not happen. But what I'm saying is everyone's just believing Vinícius Júnior. So what about the other guy? Now, Pestani is saying that he did not racially abuse him. Now, most racists may probably say, especially when they don't have like evidence to prove that's what he said, that he said it. But then, can we actually also give the guy a chance to defend himself and believe him as well? Because what if Vinícius Júnior is lying? Now, I'm not saying that it did not happen. I'm just saying we have to look at it from an alternative way. You know, we have to look at it in a different way, because not every time, sometimes maybe at the heat of the moment, Vinícius could have heard something wrong. And I'm not saying Vinícius is lying. I'm just saying that he just probably misheard or, misread the situation and probably heard something wrong. Now, what if the guy was saying negro in Spanish, which actually means black? He could have heard, the word, the N-word. And then now everyone's going to look at him and be like, oh, but you're being racist, but he probably just said that word. I'm not defending a racist. I'm just saying we have to wait until the investigation is over before we go plastering this guy as a racist. Because if he and Vinícius is supposed to make up because Vinícius actually heard it wrong, then probably at the end of the day, we're going to have to owe this guy a public apology for staying his name. So let us see what happens after the investigation, and then we can actually talk about the whole situation and labeling that guy racist. Now, in terms of racism in football as a topic itself, racism has always been in football. Now, I've suffered racism in football. I won't call the team name, but I can tell you is I was playing football in Australia, and I was playing for the reserve grade for a club at that time in a game. We were playing against a team at their home, and we were beating them like 3-4-0. Now, there was a striker for the reserve team. He was probably like 17 or 18. At that time, I was 21 years old. So, I put a challenge onto the guy. I was 22 years old, sorry. So I put a challenge onto the guy, really like proper challenge, good tackle, and his dad wasn't happy with the tackle, and he started to put on some racial slurs after me, like started to call me a monkey and shit. Real talk. And the goalkeeper that was my really good friend, a ginger, he actually started to go after the man out from outside of the goal, you know, and it became a big thing because I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know? But like, yo, racism is a social construct, right? Racism is something that people think about, something that people are taught, because in a country like Antigua and so, like I feel like the system, the schooling system and so actually really develop racists, because they actually teach us so many things about history and slavery. Instead, they teach us things about like money literacy, like how can I make money in my country, like how can I develop my country, like what opportunities are out there for me to develop my country. You know, like we don't learn any of those things. They teach us about like Christopher Columbus and slavery and Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and all these like folk songs that singing about slavery and all these things. And I'm not saying that we have to forget about our past, but I'm just saying like teach us more. Teach us that the world is big and we can become great. Teach us like the world is more than just being a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer or an accountant, you know, or a bank teller, you know, or working for the government. You know, like teach us these things. Like let us know that there's so many other opportunities in the world. There's so many different economies that we can make money from. We can develop ideas from. You know, like this is why in our country we don't like collab with each other enough, because we never understood that or understand that there's an perspective or there's a way for us to make money together. Collaborations, you know. A lot of people within my country, we don't collaborate, you know, and even when we do, we all want to be the head honcho. No one wants to take a sit down in the background and just watch the money flow. And at the end of the day, we do all of it, yeah, maybe for praise, maybe for, you know, legacy, but also for monetary and financial reasons. So I don't get why that's such an issue. But yeah, like racism in football has always been a thing, and racism is never gonna go away, because it was something that was created. From the minute something becomes mainstream, it will never go away. And this is why we need to tell the truth about our history and not lie for financial and monetary reasons as well. Because a lot of people lie. A lot of people tell us that things are available to us when it's really not. You know, or tell us that this happened or this happened to like make us victims or feel like we are part of a victimhood mindset, and then we fail to emancipate our mindset and emancipate ourselves from that mental slavery that force us to think that we are still in chains when we are not. Like the world is big, the world is possible, the world is massive, there are opportunities everywhere. People work remotely from their house every day. Every day there are people working all over the world every day. So we can't really, yo, like some of the most famous people in the world right now are black. Some of the most influential people right now are black. You know, so to say that, or for us to have that same mental slavery mindset, we need to cut it out. You know, we need to cut it out. And I'm just hoping that Vinícius Júnior was not racially abused. I'm really hoping that he misheard something, because this is just going to be another one on his rap sheet, you know, another time that he was racially abused. And I just find that to be quite harsh and quite damaging to the young man, you know, because he's still a young man, you know, he's just becoming a man, you know, and it's amazing to see that he's suffered so many times being racially abused, you know, from, and you know what's crazy is I think one of the times there was actually a black person that was saying racist things to him, so basically being prejudiced against the man, and all that we need to cut out, like stop fighting our own, start to collaborate with our own, start to love our own, start to think about being there for our own, and watch how we as black people stop complaining about other people. We need to stop worrying about other races. We need to stop worrying about what that other race can do for us. Let's just do it for ourselves. You know what I mean? When you go to the bank, do they stop you because of your race to open a bank account? No. Does money have a color? No. So we can actually build things. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take, being a tech guy don't mean what color you are. Being a tech guy, you can be a black man. There are a lot of black techs. We can build a lot of software. We can build a lot of apps. We have ideas. It's not hard for them to create the coding to build these things. You know what I mean? Like, if we really want to be that way, we need to actually take steps to be that way, but we won't, because it's not our mindset. And that's what we need to change. And I hope one day we can change. But Vinícius, bro, I hope everything works out for you, because racism in football is discrimination on all levels. And yes, Vinícius Júnior is a wind-up merchant, but he just doesn't deserve it, and I don't think he deserves it. No matter what he says or what he does, the way he dances, his appearance, maybe even if you think he looks a certain how that makes you believe he is something. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you have those feelings, keep it to yourself, bro. You know what I mean? Just keep it to yourself. But yes, people, it's been your boy. Yeah. Don't forget again to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications, so I can keep bringing you great content going forward. Have a good time. Take care. Ciao.